Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Sport This Week video. Yes, this is probably the first, I believe the first one in 3 weeks, but we are back now, and it's a big one today. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and we're also introducing one new sport, but I'll explain a bit more about that when we get into the video. But if you are new around here and you have not yet subscribed, please do so, and like the video if you do indeed like the video. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So we will be starting off with football today because I don't think we've started off with football in a while, and of course there is a lot of football news as per usual. So we'll start off from the beginning on Monday. So West Brom drew 1-1 versus Brighton, with Karlan Grant scoring his first goal for West Brom. I kind of had to put that in there because it is my club and we are playing tonight, as well as Leicester versus Leeds. Spurs then won 1-0 versus Burnley, with another goal from goal assisted by Kane and scored by Son, which is they're just linking up like mad at the moment on the way to beating, I think, was it Lampard and Drogba's record? I think it's that. AC Milan drew 3-3 with Roma. So that's AC Milan's first time dropping points this whole time this season. They're doing so good. I mean, my Italian team is Inter, so it is a bit annoying for me, but you kind of got to give credit where credit's due. They are doing very well. Zlatan's still acting like he's like in his prime, so you know. Also, it's some bad news now. Southend are likely to go into liquidation just because of the lack of support from the like the higher leagues in the EFL to help kind of like lower league teams, and it's because they're in over £500,000 debt. It's quite sad really, but it's probably going to happen to a lot of clubs, and it's kind of, at the moment, the way that things are going, it's just, there's nothing you can do about it really. So you know, that's just a bit, that's kind of the sad news out the way. But this is interesting. So Barcelona president resigned and then re-signed, but like, I think then he stepped down again. I don't know perfectly what happened, but sometime in between all that, he said that Barcelona want to join a future European Super League, which I don't know if I voiced my opinions on this already, but I really don't want it to be a thing. It is just the big clubs wanting to kind of keep being big, and they just want, it's just all the money in it. It's quite sad really, but you know, it's kind of, I guess I have just said a lot of sad news. We'll move on. I won't go too much into that. AC Milan then won 3-0 versus Sparta Praha. Arsenal won 3-0 versus Dundalk. Napoli won 1-0 versus Real Sociedad. And then Derby are on the brink of a billionaire takeover of the brother or cousin or something of the Man City owner. If you don't know, he's very, very rich man. So you know, if that's happening, that's also going to be kind of mad, and that might bring Derby back to the Prem. Liverpool won 2-1 versus West Ham. Chelsea won 3-0 versus Burnley. Man City won 1-0 versus Sheffield United. Wolves won 2-0 versus Crystal Palace. Man City women won 3-1 versus Everton to win the Women's FA Cup, which is, I believe, the 4th time in a row. Don't quote me on that, I might be completely wrong, but they are very, very good, the Man City women as well as Man City men. And yeah, I mean, they're just winning trophies for fun really, but Everton played well, to be fair, and got kind of unlucky at the end, just to like they kind of deserved to go to penalties really, but you know. And then the last bit of football news, well, there's a couple little bits. Southampton won 4-3 versus Aston Villa. Arsenal won 1-0 versus Man United. Newcastle won 2-1 versus Everton. And Spurs won 2-1 versus Brighton, with Bale getting his first goal for over 7 years now, which is mad. He's not scored since 2013, and now he's just kind of come back and started scoring again. So you know, that fair play to him. Oh, sorry, dropped my earphones. We're going to the tennis now because there's not loads of tennis left. Well, not loads of tennis that's happening. So it was kind of the start of the Austrian Open. I think that's what it's called anyway. But Djokovic won 2-0 versus Krajinovic. Djokovic then won again 2-0 versus Koric. Djokovic then lost 2-0 versus Sonego, so is out in the semi-finals. Sonego then went and carried on and went through to the finals and lost 2-0 to Rublev, who I think is now going to London to play. And yeah, I mean, I think he's doing quite well at the moment. I believe he won something else recently. I can't quite remember what. But you know, that's the tennis news for this week. Oh, seems as though I missed some football news. If you stick around here, you've got an extra bit of football news. I missed it. So we've got the Champions League stuff. So Atletico beat Salzburg 3-2 with a João Felix brace. Man City won 3-0 versus Marseille. Real Madrid drew 2-2 versus Mönchengladbach. Chelsea won 4-0 versus Krasnodar with Ziyech's first goal for the club. Man U won 5-0 versus RB Leipzig with a Rashford hat-trick off the bench in, I believe, around the 60th minute, which is mental. On and off the pitch, he's an amazing person. Barcelona won 2-0 versus Juventus with Morata having a hat-trick all ruled out for offside, which is kind of mad. I was listening to it and I was kind of shocked myself, and I bet Ronaldo was very shocked as well, as he could not be there, but that was his replacement, and unfortunately he couldn't get any goals. I believe that is the end of the... Wait, even that's not the end of the football news. Wow, okay. Burnley are on the verge of a 200 million takeover deal. Also, a bit like derbies. Spurs lost 2-0 versus Antwerp, and Leicester won 2-1 versus AEK Athens. And I believe that is the end of the football news. Okay, we'll move on to F1 now though. AlphaTauri re-signed Gasly for 2021. It was the Italian Grand Prix today. Well, one of them. Hamilton won, meaning Mercedes won the Constructor Championship for the 7th time in a row, which is a new record for times in a row winning it. Which, fair play to them, that him and Bottas, Hamilton and Bottas, are just amazing at the moment, and I don't see them ever really stay. I don't think they'll ever not win the Constructor Championships until they probably retire, really, because they are just so good. And I mean, even though the youth does seem quite good, so we'll have to wait and see with that one. That is of course interesting. Bit more F1 news though. Ricciardo got third, and so that's his second podium of the season. So congratulations to him. It really shows that he's improving his game. Gasly did not finish after his best qualifying. I believe he started 4th or 5th on the podium and was going to, it seemed like he was amongst the 5 teams that were kind of in the lead, and then his team called him in and said, there's something wrong with the car, we can't carry on. So unfortunately he couldn't finish. Verstappen also could not finish because he got a puncture with a bad puncture, so he could not finish either. And I don't know why I'm wearing this Red Bull shirt, but it's kind of just the one I put on. And then the last thing, which is quite a sad thing as well, Russell did not finish after a crash when he was 10 laps away from his first ever F1 point. It is quite sad really, because he really was trying to get this F1 point, and he was so close, just 10 laps away, and then he crashed. And there's a picture of him, I think, being really sad on the side of the track, which is quite sad really. But he's young, so I believe he'll definitely get some points soon. We'll move on to what we're doing now. Do a bit of UFC, not much UFC. So the main bit of news is Khabib is in talk with Dana White to come out of retirement to get 30-0, which would be a massive thing, a massive event. Probably would happen after Corona. But yeah, I do love Khabib as a fighter, and I do think he's probably one of the best. Well, he's the best at the moment. Well, one of them. I can't really say that. But to get 30-0, I think that would be amazing. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Got a bit of boxing news now. Usyk won by unanimous decision versus Chisora, so will now get a chance to fight Fury or Joshua for the heavyweight belt, which is probably the opposite of what Joshua and Fury wanted, more competition, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Fury and Joshua will probably fight first, and then one of them will probably fight Usyk, or Usyk will want to fight Joshua because Fury might be retiring. But I mean, I guess it just makes the heavyweight kind of category a lot more interesting. And then we'll move on to, I believe, the new sport and the final sport that we are going to be covering today, which is rugby. So rugby, I would cover kind of just like sport, like club rugby, but there's a lot of teams around, and I don't really know if I should do that, because I know it's big in Australia and everywhere else, but I don't know loads about it in Australia. So I just thought I'd just kind of do national rugby. So yeah, that's what we're doing. It was the end of the Six Nations, and England won the Six Nations. England men won the Six Nations because of them beating Italy 34-5 and France only winning 35-27. So England won on a point difference, which, congratulations to them. I mean, they do seem like a very strong team. Owen Farrell, the captain, I believe he's still the captain, doing very well to kind of not carry them to the win, but help them to the win. Also, Scotland won 14-10 versus Wales, and New Zealand won 43-5 versus Australia, which is kind of the battle, like the big battle of Australia versus New Zealand, and it's kind of obvious that New Zealand is better. And in the last bit of news, England women, so I probably won't report much of England women rugby, but it's a big thing. England women won 54-0 versus Italy, and also won the Six Nations. So both England men and women won the Six Nations. So I mean, fair play to them, and congratulations to them. But that is the end of sport this week. Like I said, it's been quite an interesting week, and I hope you're enjoying it being back, sport this week. And yeah, like and subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.